the #1 Piper player in the world. How high did you push last season with Piper?
I got up to 807 trophies.
Whoa, that's like twice as high as my Piper. Hello fellow brawlers, I'm KairosTime and it is time to brawl. Today we've got a special guest here on the channel for the very first time. Well, he's been here on the channel as a player in some of my matches, but now we're doing an interview with the #1 Piper player in the world for last season. Let's go ahead and give it up for Prodigy. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here, man.
We're gonna go ahead and talk about Piper, guys, and talk about how what he's done to try and get to that #1's position. And let's see here. Starting off, what's your experience with Piper? Why Piper, man?
I don't know. I started playing the game day 2 of Global. I got Piper a couple months later, and I just loved her style. I was a Piper one-trick for a while.
Okay.
She's all I would play on Bounty, and yeah.
She's a good one. Well, first of all, how high did you push last season with Piper?
I got up to 807 trophies.
Whoa, that's like twice as high as my Piper.
Yeah, it's a pretty long grind. We ended on a 20 win streak to get up there. But.
Wow, that is crazy. 20 straight wins. That is insane. Okay, so my question for you then. You've played a lot of different brawlers. You're no longer a Piper one trick. You're consistently top 100 in the ladder, is that right?
Yeah, I was been up to #5 global before.
Okay, so you play a lot of brawlers. Obviously, you have to do to get there. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the hardest of all the brawlers and 1 being the easiest of all the brawlers, how hard is it for you to push Piper?
Okay, so that's a little complicated because it depends on where you are in the leaderboards.
Okay.
Right. So 0 to 300, it's pretty easy, like a 2 or a 3. People don't really understand how much damage Piper does, and you can just rack up the kills with that distance.
Yeah.
Once you get past 300, people start to realize her range. They're a little more careful. I'd say more of a 5 or 6.
Okay.
You have to kind of know what you're doing. And then past 500, it gets pretty hard. If you hit one shot, all the top players will instantly run away and fall back.
Yeah.
And it's super hard to pick up those kills. And if you make one mistake, you could just lose the game outright. So past 500 trophies, she's probably in 7 or 8. I would say probably an 8.
Okay. So in comparison, which brawler would you say is a 10? Which is the hardest in comparison to Piper?
Ooh, that used to be Frank.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to give that crown currently to either, I would say probably Penny.
Okay.
Penny is pretty rough. Even Pam.
Yeah.
With Poco being so good, Pam's pretty hard right now.
Yeah.
But
okay.
It all depends on the meta.
Cool. That's solid. So we're going to go ahead and go through each of the game modes really quickly and say whether or not you can play Piper in that game mode. Starting off with the first game mode everybody plays, Gem Grab. Yes or no to Piper?
Short answer, no. Long answer, yes. But your whole team needs to be on board with it. You need to know what you're doing. You can play on Crystal Cavern as a counter to Poco. You can go Piper and Brock and one other long-range brawler like a Ricochet,
okay.
And you can just completely outrange a team. But it's very hard to do. I would not recommend it unless you're trying to, you want to mess around or you want to counter something specific.
Okay, that makes sense. So in that situation, maybe Brock at least specifically on that map, Brock on the right, Piper middle, and then Rico left?
Yep, exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, Showdown, yes or no?
No.
No for Showdown. Okay, how about Duo Showdown?
Yes, Double Trouble and Thousand Lakes are your best bet, but she can work all right on the other ones.
And if you're playing with a Piper on either of those maps, then who would your comp be? What would the other brawler be?
So you want someone who can deal with more close range threats. So I say either a Poco or a Dynamite or some other short range brawler. You can even go Brock.
Okay.
Brock has a lot of burst.
Brock's pretty good at that short range like burst damage. You know, you don't even have to aim really with him, so that kind of makes sense right there. Whereas Piper's really weak up close, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Next game mode, Heist.
No.
You mean you don't use your super to just jump onto the safe?
No, I've seen it done once. I lost 2 on my mini, but we don't talk about that.
Okay. Brawl Ball.
No.
Too many walls.
Yeah.
Way too many walls. Okay, then I'm gonna guess She's pretty okay on Bounty.
Bounty is probably your best bet, along with Duo Showdown to get her to 500, I would say.
Okay. So Bounty then, because from talking to you kind of before this, it sounds like mostly what you did was play Bounty whenever Bounty was up, and then on those Brawl Ball days, you kind of like didn't play her very much, or what did you do there?
Yep, that's pretty much it. I play a little bit of duos here and there, but mainly when Bounty was up, I'd get on, play 15 games. Make sure you have good teammates. Yeah, that's the usually goal. Yeah, grab Keenan. And,
there you go.
And go at it.
That's awesome. Okay, so if you're playing Bounty with Piper, I imagine you're also playing with Brock. Then
Yep.
Who would be your third brawler?
So it definitely depends on the map a little bit.
Okay.
Solid choices right now are Bo. A lot of people don't think Bo's that great, but he has a lot of health. He doesn't get double tapped by Piper, which is huge.
Yeah.
He has that sight on some of the grassy maps. He does actually pretty good damage. If you can hit 2 shots, that's 1,000 damage. And mines are always good for falling back and retreating. So he's usually my go-to third. And then along with Bo, I would say Rico's also very good on certain maps like Terracotta Square, where there's a lot of walls.
Okay. Would you ever play Penny as your third?
Increasing, she's actually getting a lot better. I would say she's not maybe your ideal third, but if someone wants to push their Penny up, you can definitely play with her. She's quite viable.
Cool. Okay, that makes sense right there. So, let's say I just barely opened up Piper, first time ever, never played her. What would be your advice to somebody like that, somebody that has never played Piper before, to help them kind of like get used to Piper and really get into the game, kind of push up some trophies with her?
Yeah, just go jump into a couple games. Bounty if it's up. If not, go ahead and play Smash and Grab at those beginning levels. Just get a feel for hitting your shots. The first thing you need to do is just realize how to lead someone. So if they're walking down the middle towards the gem mine, you shoot where they want to go, right? You shoot at the gem, that's where they're trying to get to. Same thing in Bounty. If they're walking towards the star at the beginning, you just shoot towards that star because you know that's where they want to head. And if they get low and they're trying to get behind a wall to heal up, you shoot towards the wall. That way they can't go and heal. So really, just shoot in front of your target and make sure they can't get where they want to go.
Okay. I think that's really solid advice. So one question that I have is, Piper, obviously, she does more damage the further away she is. So you hit max damage at the very tippy top of her range. As a new player, would you suggest to people trying to stay at that end range or going kind of in the middle, or what would you suggest doing? Obviously, you don't want to wait till they're very close up because then she does like no damage at all. But what would you suggest? Yeah,
so you want to keep a couple shots in your chamber at all times. But if you have all 3 shots, if they're at max range, go ahead and take that shot. It's not going to hurt. You're going to reload it. They buffed her reload speed. Go ahead and take that shot. I wouldn't use all 3 of your shots though at max range. I would just use 1. If they get a little closer, then feel free to use more of your ammo.
Okay.
So
you're more likely to get those guaranteed shots.
Yeah. Try to keep your range too. So if they're running at you, just make sure you're kiting back. That's the other thing.
Okay, I think that's solid advice. So then, on the flip side of things, we're going from somebody who has been playing with Piper, who's pretty good at Piper, but really wants to get to that next level, going from good to great with Piper. What would your advice be to somebody that is like that, that's really trying to up their game with Piper?
Yeah, so usually you don't want to auto-aim with Piper, but there are a few situations where you actually do.
Okay.
That would include when a Mortis is coming at you. You don't really want to be wasting your time shooting at him, so auto-aim is perfectly fine. There's quite a few things. So one is if you have a max Piper, that star power is actually really huge. Okay. So recognizing where damage is and using the grass if you need to get that kill. Obviously, don't go out of your way to get in the grass and get that little 400 damage if you don't need it. But if you know you might need that damage to get a kill or to double tap someone, you really want to use that grass to your advantage. For example, Bo has 5,000 health. Piper can't 2-shot him unless she's in a bush at max range. But if you're in a bush at max range, you can actually 2-shot Bo. Okay. So knowing those little things can be a big difference. Another one that I find very, very huge is called Crossfire.
Okay.
It works very, very well with Brock. So what happens is when one of your teammates is shooting at an enemy, you also want to shoot at that same enemy if possible. So if you have a Brock and they're shooting at maybe the enemy Brock, right? They're going to try to dodge that Brock shot. And so you see them and they start to go to the right. what you want to do is you want to shoot to the right of that brawler, and you kind of want to pinch them. So they're stuck between the Brock shot and the Piper shot, and they can't dodge them both.
Gotcha.
So this is a very,
So I was going to say, it's kind of like you're pinching them, but not like going around a block and coming from two sides of the block to take care of somebody, but you're using your shots from a distance to attack and basically put an X right on them so there's nowhere that they can go. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Perfect, yeah. And Bounty is not about taking a 1v1. Smash and grab is a lot about 1v1s and winning your side. Bounty is a team game. So if your team is getting pushed, you need to make sure you're there helping them, that you don't get boxed in. You want to clean up those team kills. You're not trying to double tap everyone. You're more trying to let your teammates do some damage, and if you see a kill, you want to clean that up.
Gotcha. Okay. That's really solid advice then. I think I'm ready to push my Piper, man. Okay, next question here I've got for you. When it comes to playing Piper competitively in really top level gameplay and things like that, what's the hardest thing for you to deal with when you are playing with Piper?
Yeah, so besides shot delay, throw that aside.
That happens at the competitive ladder. Most people don't have to worry about that, but at the end range of the ladder, you definitely have to worry about that. Okay, so there's that. So
juking patterns, right? Each player has their own unique juking style. Mm-hmm. Some people zigzag, some people change directions really rapidly. And so as a Piper player, you really need to try to pick up on those styles, right? And recognize what your opponent likes to do and what their natural reflex is. And then you start to capitalize on that.
Okay.
So
you want to give us a couple examples of what that's like then?
Yeah, so if you know someone's walking and as soon as they shoot, they go the other way, right? Mm-hmm. So if you walk out of the bush and they shoot at you, you try to dodge that, and then you know where they're going to go. Okay. So you know they're going to cut back, and so you shoot behind them. That's a really big thing. A lot of high-level bounty matches are decided by which Piper can land their shots. It really is just a lot of practice, recognizing those juking patterns, getting good at dodging yourself is obviously really huge, and then reaction supers. So you don't want to waste your Piper super. You can use it to destroy terrain, but you can also use it to dodge Brock supers or other things. Those are obviously very huge. And I'm a very aggressive Piper player myself, but you don't always have to back up and heal right away if you have your super. Sometimes you can toe the line, right?
Yeah.
I always say a shot that's fired at you is a shot that isn't going at your teammates, right? Mm-hmm. So even if I'm low health, I can still maybe take 2 or 3 Brock shots and dodge them, and they're not shooting at my teammates while I'm healing up, for example.
Yeah. So, no, that's solid. I like that. That's really solid. I think that's some good advice for general gameplay. Pay attention to those juking patterns because everybody has their own pattern. I know I have my own, and you just have to figure out what that is so you can take advantage of that. So that's really cool. Okay, so when you're playing as Piper, which brawlers, when you face up against them, are you like, oh yeah, this is going to be easy?
Ooh. Okay, so anything that's like mid-range, so like Nita, like Jesse, all those brawlers.
Or kind of even a Colt.
Right. Yeah, Colt is a little harder because he has that speed. Surprisingly enough, personally, I love playing against Crow.
Okay, yeah.
Crow is super fragile. You can easily, I think, 2-shot him.
And he does really low damage from a distance, so you're pretty safe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and if he jumps on you, you can just jump away. Also, anyone
it's kind of the perfect counter.
Exactly. And anyone that you can kill with 1 Piper shot and 1 Brock shot is really good. Because if you can line up those 2 shots and they hit at the same time, you're hitting for about 3,700 health. Yeah. So you can instantly delete brawlers, which is the funniest thing I get in the game.
Yeah. People are like, what? Wait, what happened? Was that not alive? Oh, shoot. Okay. Cool. Well, then how about the opposite? When you're playing Piper and you see X brawler and you're like, oh, okay, this is going to be tricky. We got to figure a way around this. Who are those brawlers for you?
There really isn't one. Okay. Honestly, Piper's extremely good in bounty. The only thing you kind of shake your head is if you go into that match and you see that other really good Piper and you're like, oh, I know they're really good.
Gotcha.
But honestly, a lot of bounty games are decided by who has the better Piper on their team.
Yeah.
So
no, I've seen
Snake
that.
Prairie. Yeah, Snake Prairie is the one exception. It's a little of a weird map. A lot of things work there, but pretty much every other bounty map. If you're playing Piper, it's your responsibility to carry your team in that match.
Okay, so that makes sense. Definitely, it does help to have some supportive teammates, especially if you're trying to learn Piper for the first time. But you definitely, if you're trying to play competitively, your Piper has to be the best Piper of the three of you for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Cool. Anything else you'd like to add before we finish up this video? Any other Piper tips that you'd like to share to the world? Give all your secrets so everybody can pass you up on the ladder?
I mean, you just got to play her a lot. She's not an easy brawler. You really just got to get down that shooting speed, the way she plays. The more games you play with her, as with any other brawler, you really do improve. Yeah, you'll start to notice things. There's like little things that are just subconscious, but the more you play, the better you get. Shout out to all the people who helped me push, especially Keenan. Yeah, and real quick, a lot of the tips that I said for Piper also apply to Brock. They're very similar brawlers. A lot of the cross-firing things and keeping your range also apply to Brock. So you can take a lot of the Piper advice with a grain of salt and apply that to other long-range brawlers. So.
Yeah, I think it's really solid. Cool. Hey, well, Prodigy, thank you so much for jumping on the channel, man. It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a real blast, and I'm always enjoy to help out.
Absolutely. Anyways, guys, let me know what you thought about this video. If you want to see some more pro players jump onto the video to play the brawlers that you want to know most about, please drop it in the comment section below. If you have a favorite pro you'd like to get on here, or if there is a specific brawler that you want some more information on. For now, this is Prodigy and KairosTime ticking by. We will see you in Brawl Stars.